Health Problems in Sub-Saharan Africa. Hello and welcome to As It Is from VOA Learning English. Today we have news about world health and world hunger. Food prices have been increased, but surprisingly the number of people suffering from hunger has decreased around the world. In the countries where you see food security being really mainstreamed among economic policies and where you see real commitment from government, that is where you see results. We'll have the story in a moment, but first we tell about a new international report that notes progress in the fight against malaria and HIV/AIDS. Regrettably, another report also notes a sharply increased number of deaths in traffic accidents in recent years. This is a reflection of many more vehicles on the road, great increases in vehicle ownership, and very inadequate investment in the infrastructure related to road traffic safety. Progress in fight against malaria and HIV/AIDS. Recent reports from the World Bank describe the health challenges facing 6 major parts of the world. These include many diseases and also road accidents. The bank says the report will help policymakers develop health programs based on evidence after the Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs. And in 2015, the goals were developed in 2000 at a conference held by the United Nations Development Program. The 189 countries taking part in the conference chosen 8 goals. The goals include reducing extreme poverty and hunger, gaining worldwide early education and equality of the sexes. The World Bank was joined in the release of reports by the Institutes for Health Metrics and Evaluation. Timothy Evans is the World Bank's Director of Health, Nutrition and Population. He says different parts of the world have different health challenges, so a single health plan for everyone would not be effective. That doesn't work anywhere. It doesn't work globally. It doesn't work regionally. It doesn't even work within a country. So the more understanding you have of context and need, the better able the system is to respond appropriately. Timothy Evans notes the continuing health problem found in Sub-Saharan Africa. The big one remains communicable diseases, the release to HIV and malaria, and of the regions in the world. Sub-Saharan Africa is the only region where there are more death and life lost from communicable diseases than other types of illness and injury. Good progress has been made in the fight against malaria. That progress comes mainly from the use of insecticide-treated bed nets and indoor use of insecticides. For HIV/AIDS, the greater availability of drugs called antiretrovirals have saved many lives. Yet, one of the World Bank reports says malaria and HIV/AIDS are still major health problem. Road accidents are also a top killer in southern Africa and in most of the areas studied. What we've seen is dramatical surge in mortality and injury from road traffic accidents. And this is a reflection of many more vehicles on the road, great increases in vehicle ownership, and very inadequate investment in the infrastructure related to road traffic safety. The World Bank official says the road accident death rates in Africa are 100 times greater than those in the United States. In the Middle East and North Africa, called the MENA area for short, health worries differ from those in Sub-Saharan Africa. Much of North Africa and the Middle East suffer violence and conflict. Mr. Evans said war and unrest directly affect the health of populations in those countries, Syria, Libya, and Egypt, for example. Health does well in conditions of security. Health is really threatened in conditions of insecurity, and it relates some of the terrible violence that you see, which is often associated with situations where the normal rule of law has been lost and there's amid violence and other sorts of problems. The uncertainty often leads to mass movement of people across borders and territories where they are not necessarily welcome. In addition, violence and conflict cause many professional people to leave troubled area. The cause is so-called brain drain, loss of people with needed skills. A surprising decline in world hunger. A new United Nations report says the number of hungry people has dropped, but not enough to meet development goals. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization says 1 in 8 people are suffering from chronic hunger. That represents 852 million people worldwide. That is drop from the estimate of 868 million last year, and it is 17% less than the number reported in 1990s. World leaders have agreed to go to cutting the number of hungry people in half worldwide by 2015. But not everyone thinks the goal is realistic. Piero Conforti is a statistician with the Food and Agriculture Organization. He thinks it may be possible to meet the Millennium Development Goals of cutting in half the percentage of people suffering from hunger in developing countries. This goal is closer and have been reached in many countries, actually, but still, in order to meet it by 2015 would require significant additional effort. Piero Comfort says investment in agriculture, especially small-scale agriculture, can have the biggest effect on reducing hunger and poverty. In the countries where you see food security being really mainstreamed among economic policies and where you see real commitment from government, that is where you see results. The FAO report says hunger is the biggest problem facing African countries south of the Sub-Saharan desert. It says there have been little progress in reduced hunger in that area. There have been slow improvements in Southern Asia and Northern Africa, but none in Western Asia. The most progress have happened in Latin America and East and Southeastern Asia. Mr. Comfort says, the recent weakness in the world economy and sharp increases in food prices has a smaller than expected effort in world hunger. And he says, farmers have answered the higher prices by increasing production. The report also notes the effect of remittance, money sent home by people working in other countries. They become significant flows, sometimes bigger than the total inflow of foreign aid. He said these remittances can help small-scale farmers and improve food country, and that as it is for today.